This is One Life on a mission to cross the Pacific Ocean. But there is one thing in our way, the vast Sea of Cortez. We have finally splashed our boat at Puerto Penasco, and we have started our journey south to La Paz. This distance took us 2 months to cover when we were headed north, but this time we hope to do it in just 2 weeks, which means we have a lot of sailing to do before we embark on the biggest sail of our lives. So far, we have covered 180 miles to Puerto Don Juan, but we have 500 miles left to La Paz. I decided to come down and make us ham sandwiches for lunch. It's pretty hilarious down here right now because everything's rolling off the counter. Whee! Why?
Hold on to your sandwich, you're gonna lose it. Hold on to it.
Look at that sloppy sandwich. Jiming.
Well, the sea state today is pretty terrible. We think again it's current against the wind, and it's just making these really steep waves, and we're trying to sail pretty much dead downwind. So we're just rolling back and forth all over the place. And it was okay for a while. The wind was about 20 knots and it was keeping the head sail filled and we were moving pretty good. But the wind's dropped down now to about 10 to 12 knots and the head sail just was not staying open. So we went ahead and rigged up our new 4-spar whisker pole and we're able to keep sailing, and we're going pretty much dead downwind. We're still rolling, but the sail is no longer collapsing and then slamming open. So we're still making 4 or 5 knots and it's working pretty well. We will show you how to rig the 4-spar whisker pole when it's calm enough for Brooke to go on the foredeck and film me doing it, because today it was a little sketchy up there and we want to show you exactly how we rigged it up. So before we got the whisker pole, we really wouldn't be able to sail in these conditions. The sail would just be flopping back and forth and not staying open. Now with the whisker pole, we've opened up a whole new area of sailing that we weren't able to do before. 1, we're able to go dead downwind now. And 2, we're able to keep flying the head sail even when it gets really rolly and the winds are lighter, which is a pretty common occurrence. And it's just great for long distance cruising because you can set this pole out and you don't really have to pay as much attention to maintaining a perfect wind angle. If we go a little bit and like a little bit of a jibe to where the wind's coming from the other side, it's totally fine. So it's definitely a good way to make long runs downwind. What are you getting into over there?
Our snacks.
You're sitting underneath the snack helmet? Are you just catching whatever falls out and shoveling it in. What'd you find?
Mango. We left Puerto Don Juan with no plan other than to head south. It was assumed we would just do a day sail, but we ended up getting in a pretty good groove and decided to push through the night to Isla San Marcos. We arrived to Isla San Marcos just after breakfast. Once we were settled on anchor, we took down our whisker pole and decided to get some sleep before we pushed on further south. This afternoon we are continuing on our journey south to La Paz. We're hoping to do another 80 miles to the next little anchorage, and we've decided to sail overnight. We're hoping that the wind fills in tonight. There's currently no wind, but there's forecast to be wind out of the north tonight, so hoping we can use that to make our way further south. But Gary's pulling the anchor now, and we'll get underway. What are we going to try today on our shakedown?
Well, we've got a little surprise that was gifted to us when we were back in Florida. So we're going to hoist it and see what it looks like.
Okay, I'm going to fill it in.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. That's why we're doing it now. Can't believe the sky right now. Wow. It's like the perfect pastel. The sail is so cool. It has all of the colors in it, and it's a bit smaller than our other Spinnaker, which is perfect because we'll be able to fly this one in heavier winds. And the wind's really light. It's dying down. I think we have 2 knots now, so we're gonna take this thing down and unfortunately probably motor. But it was good practice for us to get it up and make a few adjustments to the control line. It was a bit twisted inside the sock, so we untwisted it, and now it's ready for us to try out across the Pacific. What do you think?
Thanks, Carol and Greg. I love it.
You guys know how much Gary loves his spinnies. We've settled in for the night with our night watches. We just ate some spaghetti for dinner, and I noticed a small little light up ahead. And I checked AIS and radar, and a little boat showed up on our radar, or what I thought was a little boat. And I could just see their headlight barely, and it got me thinking about what sailing at night would be like when we cross the Pacific Ocean. And I guess we won't be seeing many boats or many lights. So it's interesting to think about like what the sail will be like and how we'll be feeling and what we'll experience. And yeah, I don't know. My mind is just running in all directions tonight. I guess I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for what's to come. But the conditions are really nice right now. Well, I shouldn't say they are really nice because we're motoring, but the seas are really calm. It's like a lake out here tonight, so that's good at least. And maybe the wind will fill in at some point. Right now we only have about 3 knots. So anyway, that's it for now. With only 1 to 2 knots of wind overnight, we were left to shake down our engine rather than our sails, but nonetheless, it is a vital system that we need to make sure is in top shape. Anchor down!
Shut it down.
We just dropped the anchor here at Isla Coronados, and we're pretty much anchored behind a volcano. But the wind never picked back up last night, so we pretty much motored all the way here. It's glassy flat out this morning, and we can see the anchor in this water. But this looks like a good little anchorage to chill out for a day or so. But before we could chill out properly for a couple days, Gary got to work on an item that we never got around to checking off in the boatyard.
All right, we've been back on the water for almost a week now, and if you've noticed, we haven't gone anywhere in the dinghy, and that's because our outboard was still broken from 6 months ago when we were last sailing. The tilt mechanism stopped working, and then the clamp bracket that actually holds it to the dinghy was completely busted too. I had cobbled it together to keep us going about 6 months ago, but when we were back in the US, I got some parts. So today, we just anchored. It's super calm. It's sunny and hot, and I've been working on getting this outboard taken apart. So I swung it around to the aft deck here where I can work on it without dropping pieces overboard. And I went ahead and took off the old bracket that holds it to the dinghy, and I'm taking apart the tilt mechanism now and gonna go ahead and start putting in the new pieces here.
At this point, we had been on the boat for a full week, and we were both pretty keen to be able to get to shore and stand on solid ground.
All right, this is the first time our outboard's been on our dinghy in 6 months, and we're gonna see if it starts. I did change the oil and the filter and the gear case oil when we were hauled out, and I just checked the oil level to make sure it's still good. It looks all good. How many pulls do you think?
Ooh.
What's your guess?
I'm gonna say 4 pulls.
I'm gonna go with 2.
2?
I got a lot of faith in it.
Okay. 1 pull? Wow. Let's go for a ride, Gary.
Hold on. Might not keep going. Did that really start on the first pull after 6 months?
I think so.
Props to Suzuki.
I'm gonna go for a ride.
Reverse. We got forward. Let's see, we got power. Looks good. Let's go break it. Bring the VHF.
Woo! Dinghy time.
We finally get to go for a car ride. Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back to cruising.
Woohoo!
We did it!
How good do you feel right now? Pretty good.
Good.
If you have been following our journey, you understand why this was so special for us. We felt like we could finally kick back and enjoy this lifestyle. No boat work, no provisioning, no sailing, just embracing the moment. It's all sand, Gary. Like, this is all sand here. Just that rock there. We are gonna go for a hike this afternoon, and we've not been hiking since our road trip. So we're really looking forward to actually just getting off the boat and moving around. This anchorage here is pretty nice. It's the clearest water that we've seen since we've been back on the boat.
Let's go to the top of that.
I know. Let's go climb a volcano.
Doesn't look too far.
We're gonna try to go all the way up to there. Even though we were feeling the pressure to make it to La Paz, it was also important for us to take some time to soak in our surroundings. There is something really unique about this place where the desert meets the sea. We hiked all the way to the top and we were greeted by 1,000 little flies. They're everywhere. Gary went to fly the drone and he couldn't even fly it. They were like swarming his head. We were hoping to stay up here for sunset.
We're not staying for sunset.
It is brutal. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys these flies. Look at them. They're all over Gary's back. Look at all of them. So we were just walking and Gary screamed, "There's a rattlesnake."
So I was walking right next to that rock, right?
Oh, wow.
And its head was right behind the other side of it like that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's the rattle.
Oh, there's the rattle. Wow, you can hear it rattling. It's insane. Oh, that gives me the shivers.
So yeah, he was like right there, right? And I stepped right here. And his head was right there and I heard him. And I looked down, I jumped away. That would have been bad.
That would have been really bad.
I don't know what kind of rattlesnake that is.
Well,
I think we got enough pictures to identify it when we get back to the boat, but wow.
nice. He is really beautiful though.
It's a really cool looking snake.
It's really, his pattern is really, really
But as soon as I knew it was a rattlesnake, I was like, oh shit.
Okay, I want to get back before dark now. now I'm scared. I don't want to walk back at dark. How was your hike, Gary?
Well, we misplayed the timing for sure because we read that it was a 2-hour hike, but I think that meant 2 hours each way. So it's a little dark for the second half of the hike, but we made it back. Our dinghy's still here, so it's all good.
Just got underway again today. It's about noon. We slept in. Yesterday we enjoyed the day just exploring the islands and going on a hike, but we need to keep moving south, so there's very little wind again today, but we're gonna try to make another 20 or 30 miles to the next anchorage. So because we're trying to shake down everything and use all of our systems before our big passage, we decided to put the big beast up today, the big spinny.
It's huge.
This one's so much larger than the one we flew the other day. I forgot how big this thing is. It's like a parachute. But sometimes, even with a huge Spinnaker, there is just not enough wind to keep the sail filled. So we took down our mainsail, fired up the engine, and let One Life glide her way over the glassy flat water to another peaceful anchorage. Up next, the remaining 200 miles to La Paz.